First tonight on Our News Weekend, a massive fire tears through Grand Bahama. Buildings destroyed and a family left homeless. The government races to respond, deploying manpower to tackle the crisis. Plus, pure joy in Abaco as 10 families celebrate getting the keys to their brand new homes through government's rent-to-own program. The heartwarming moments straight ahead and celebrating the goodness of God. A local church marks 25 years of faith and service in grand style. We've got all the details on the celebration. Our News, the weekend edition, starts right now. Welcome to Our News, the weekend edition. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Berthany McDermott. We begin in Grand Bahama tonight. A massive fire there is now under control, but not before destroying several buildings and severely damaging a home. Prime Minister Philip Davis, who has prioritized the situation on that northern island, gave an update earlier today calling for all hands on deck to the disaster.
A residential home in Regency Park extensively damaged. A derelict house in Hospital subdivision extensively damaged. 2 unoccupied police buildings on Peel Street totally destroyed. Freeport Ship Services storage warehouse extensively damaged. A warehouse in the civic industrial area, fire damage sustained.
Prime Minister Philip Davis sharing the results of the devastating impact of that fire that rapidly spread through Grand Bahama Friday. Thick black smoke filled the sky, visible for miles, making driving conditions dangerous as it reduced visibility on the roads. Davis, who arrived in Grand Bahama Saturday afternoon, visited a man whose home was damaged.
I just come back on the island away from work.
Yeah.
And doing some banking.
Yeah.
Gave everything was nice. When I came back, everything was out.
Davis confirmed that another bushfire ignited at the Bahamas Agriculture and Industrial Corporation site on East Sunrise Highway Friday night around 7 p.m. Thankfully, firefighters were able to quickly contain it. To help with the efforts, 30 Royal Bahamas Defense Force officers were deployed from New Providence Saturday morning. Meanwhile, government is stepping in to help those affected by the smoke.
The government has arranged hotel accommodations for individuals displaced or impacted by the smoke and has commenced the distribution of over 1,000 hot meals to assist affected residents.
Officer in charge of the Northern Division, Assistant Commissioner of Police Eduardo Dame, says 3 areas are still being monitored. As for the cause,
there is no evidence to suggest that these fires at this time have been intentionally lit, but we are keeping an open mind, and our investigative teams, our experts, are doing their due diligence in these matters.
Meanwhile, a team of 26 Defense Force firefighters was deployed to Grand Bahama Saturday afternoon to help battle that massive blaze. Before their 1 p.m. flight on Western Air, National Security Minister Wayne Munro, Police Commissioner Shanta Knowles, and Defense Force Deputy Commander Captain Sean Del Pinder held a press briefing detailing the joint effort between police and Defense Force teams. Commissioner Knowles shared this update.
So I've spoken with Assistant Commissioner Dames just a few minutes ago, and I can tell you that most of the fires in Grand Bahama have been extinguished. The fire at Hawksbill subdivision has been extinguished. There was damage to a dilapidated building in that community. The fire at West Sunrise subdivision has been extinguished. There were no damages in that area. The bush fire at BAIC, that has also been extinguished. That's on the Eastern Sunrise Highway. Right now, they are monitoring 3 smoldering hotspots, and that is at Warren J. Lavarity Highway, the Queens Highway near Bahamas Bury or Bahamian Bury, and then, of course, in North Bahamia.
Another Defense Force crew is set to leave New Providence on Sunday aboard the HMBS Durward Knowles, heading to Grand Bahama to assist. The National Security Minister says with climate change, fire season is starting earlier and getting more intense.
As climate change, which we don't contribute to in a very large way, but it affects us in a very big way in terms of storms and fires. We will spare no effort in keeping our citizens safe.
And while Grand Bahamians receive assistance battling that massive fire, Berry Islanders are now facing a blaze of their own. Residents there tell us the fire ignited around 7:30 Friday evening, and strong eastern winds have made containment efforts even more challenging. Local contractors have reportedly stepped in using heavy equipment to help fight the flames. So far, we are told no homes have been impacted, but concern is growing as the fire edges closer to residential areas. As of this afternoon, residents report about 75% of the fire has been extinguished, but they remain on high alert. Area Member of Parliament Leonardo Lightburn.
This has been an ongoing conversation with myself and my colleagues, our ministers, in regards to infrastructures and availability of fire engine, ambulance, etc. However, the residents, along with the winter residents also, they have been ongoing purchasing these fire equipment. Like I say, the 500 gallon that was purchased through the Berry Island Association in partnership with home residents. They have the key. However, they are in the process of purchasing another, maybe 2 more of them, I was told. So it's an ongoing process.
And now to Abaco. Years after construction began, Prime Minister Philip Davis now says the hurricane shelter in Central Pines, Abaco, will be ready just in time for hurricane season. Back in January 2023, we reported that the project, originally budgeted at $1.4 million, had ballooned to $4 million. At the time, Davis said work, which was expected to be completed by December 2024, had stalled due to redesigns. He also admitted to serious mistakes along the way. So how much has been spent now? Here's what he had to say.
I expect us to be open before or in time for the hurricane season, which means that it should be complete by the end of May.
Are you pleased with the budget that was spent on this project?
Well, the final budget has not yet come to me, but at the end of the day, we are providing for the people of Abaco something that's much needed. With the onslaught of climate change and how we are having so many hurricanes each year, the intensity of those hurricanes, I don't know that I could concern myself that we are spending too much money to get a result such as this. We are being responsible in our spending.
Emergency management officials recently told the Tribune newspaper that shelter inspections will begin April 1st as part of ongoing readiness efforts. This year, there is a renewed focus on categorizing shelters by storm type and expanding capacity, according to officials. The shelter in Abaco is being funded through the India-UN Development Partnership Fund and is designed to withstand winds up to 250 miles per hour. Features include an industrial kitchen, emergency communications, accessible restrooms and showers, and office space for emergency personnel. Davis says he's proud of the work so far.
Telling the project manager and the contractor that I'm mildly surprised as to where they are and the quality of work. I'm also not just looking at what we have, but the quality of work that is manifesting in what we see is also tremendous. Again, Bahamians are building this, and I'm always proud to see the product of our Bahamian ingenuity and skill.
For many, owning a home is more than just having a place to live. It's a dream, a milestone, and a foundation for the future. That dream is now a reality for a dozen families in Abaco as government expands its rent-to-own and mortgage housing initiative to the Family Islands. On Friday, our Joshua Williams was a part of an exclusive media tour of homes in 2 subdivisions and witnessed an emotional key handover ceremony for first-time homeowners.
12 families in Spring City and Central Pines, Abaco are now homeowners holding the keys to their future. It's the latest housing initiative under the Davis administration, following similar developments in Pinecrest and Renaissance. Just last week, 15 families in Sir Lyndon Pinling Estates, New Providence, also got their keys. Prime Minister Philip Davis, on hand for the handover in Abaco on Friday, called it a symbol of perseverance and progress for Abaconians.
May your walls echo with laughter, and may these homes become sanctuaries of cherished memories. Friends, together we are building a stronger Bahamas, and we're doing so one home at a time.
For Abaco, this initiative carries deep significance. Hurricane Dorian in 2019 devastated the island, destroying homes, displacing families, and leaving behind a death toll still unknown. Then came the COVID-19 pandemic, making recovery even harder. For North Abaco MP Kirk Cornish, the project is more than just housing, it's hope.
This represents hope, life for people. And Dorian, we would have lost between Grand Bahama and Abaco, there was about 70,000 persons misplaced, became homeless. The combined islands would have lost about 45% of our homes. Any home structure represents hope. The greatest accomplishment a man can achieve or a woman is their home. That's your sanctuary. It is just Abaco really welcomes it.
Officials say renters will pay around $1,000 per month, calling it a great deal in today's rental climate. Some homes are already completed while others are still under construction. Chief Housing Officer Jeffrey Clark explains the scope of works.
You will see behind us, we built 6 homes here under a PPP partnership. And so they range from 3-bed, 2-bath, 3-bed, 1-bath with a garage, and a 2-bed, 2-bath.
While homeowners didn't speak on camera, many shared their gratitude off camera, saying the initiative gives them a long-awaited sense of belonging. Officials say the next stop for the project will be San Salvador and Eleuthera. Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks, Joshua. Bahamian small businesses are feeling the pinch as new U.S. tariffs on Chinese imports introduced by U.S. President Donald Trump create fresh challenges for local retailers. With costs on the rise, many are now looking for alternatives. The Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation is stepping in, exploring ways to mitigate the strain. The chamber chief recently spoke with our Delvardo Emmanuel via Zoom about the impact and possible solutions.
For years, sourcing goods from Canada has been a cost-effective strategy for many Bahamian businesses. But with the U.S. imposing tariffs, local importers are caught in the crossfire, facing rising expenses that could trickle down to consumers. Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation Chief Dr. Leo Rose says he recently met with U.S. Charge d'Affaires Kimberly Furnish to discuss the uncertainty surrounding the tariffs.
One of the topics that we discussed was, of course, the tariffs. It was the $1 million that's intended to be imposed on Chinese-built or registered vessels. And so while it's a fluid matter in nature, meaning it constantly changes, we don't know whether it's going to stick, we don't know what's going to happen. The Charge obviously was not able to provide concrete information as to where the administration is going.
With so much uncertainty, Dr. Rose says the Chamber is actively seeking new trade partnerships beyond China to cushion the small businesses from price shocks.
Whether it be directly from Canada, so you saw an inbound mission from Canada, whether it be from South America, you see that the Trade Commission has gone to South America last year, Brazil specifically, there's another one pegged for this year. Whether it be an outbound to India, we're taking about 50 persons in the construction industry to India in about 2 weeks, looking at the procurement of goods from India directly.
Markets in Europe, Asia, and Africa are also being considered. Dr. Rose says diversifying trade partnerships is a smart move, even if the tariffs don't last.
My grandmother always said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. So what it does is it helps them to be able to say, okay, I can get cheese from this country at this rate, but I can get eggs from this country at this rate. And so they may diversify and say, I continue to get my cheese from here, but I'll get my eggs from here, so I can pass those savings on to the consumer.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvardo Emmanuel.
Thanks, Delvardo. Well, coming up in just 60 seconds, government is looking for a new solution amid a spike in suicide cases. The health minister goes on record tonight. This as a local clergyman calls for the church to do more. His candid comments when Our News Weekend returns.
Diet-friendly special.
Bahamian entertainer Elon Moxey, known as the Crab Man, has passed away. A family member confirmed his death late Friday night. With over 40 years in music, Moxey was famous for hits like Oh My Andros and Catch the Crab. He had reportedly been battling an illness for some time before his passing. In November, his daughter Shante launched an online fundraiser to raise $40,000 for his medical expenses, including potential leg amputations. However, she told the Tribune only $250 had been raised at the time. We'll continue to follow this story and share more on his life and legacy in the coming days. Our deepest condolences go out to his family and all who were touched by his music. A mental health crisis is unfolding in the Bahamas, with reported suicide cases surging at an alarming rate. In just 3 months, the country has already matched the total number of suicides recorded last year, and attempted suicides are also on the rise. As Joshua Williams tells us tonight, lawmakers are sounding the alarm, calling for urgent action as the impact spreads across communities, affecting both the young and the old.
Lawmakers on both sides of the floor are concerned about the uptick in suicides and attempted suicides this year. Just this week, a 45-year-old man in Abaco tried to take his own life, a disturbing reminder of the mental health challenges facing the country. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville says government is taking the issue seriously, pointing to the 2022 Mental Health Bill and ongoing efforts to improve care.
The first part of the initiation and bringing the Mental Health Bill into force was to train mental health community nurses. I'm pleased to report that we have already trained some 41 mental health community nurses, and they are supposed to be deployed in the community. And going into community, they will not be clinic-based, but they will be community-based.
Darville says the solution goes beyond legislation, as technology could also play a role in expanding access to mental health support.
To develop some app technologies where individuals, like in the public service, who are having issues and the stigma associated with mental illness, by doing these consultations online in the privacy of their own homes, it gives them an opportunity to interface with healthcare professionals, our counselors, and our psychiatrists.
And Dr. Darville admits there's a shortage of government psychiatrists, but says the private sector is helping bridge the gap. Still, he stresses that prevention, especially early detection, is crucial.
How important it is for early detection. We have children, we have kids who are normal, and then all of a sudden, you have no signs and symptoms, or you couldn't read them properly, and the next thing you know, they're a suicide case.
With suicide rates climbing, the question remains, will these initiatives be enough to tackle the crisis head-on? Opposition leader Michael Pintard agrees action must be taken, but he says he believes the solution requires a broader approach.
We have a lot of mental health professionals in the country. The government should carefully sit with them, as well as those persons from the faith-based organizations who are clinically trained in counseling, and we need to dispatch persons throughout the country talking directly to persons within our communities.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks again, Joshua. And amid a concerning rise in suspected suicide cases nationwide, Central and South Abaco Member of Parliament John Pinder is urging his constituents to seek help if they're struggling with suicidal thoughts. This comes after 2 recent suicides on an Abaco quay, highlighting the growing crisis. The Crisis Center has reported a surge in calls from men expressing feelings of hopelessness on the suicide prevention hotline. Additionally, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has reported a 30% increase in suspected suicides in 2024. Pinder is calling for increased resources and support to help those battling mental health issues and prevent further tragedies.
We need to continue putting resources towards that. We do have some on the island. I encourage all residents, but particularly my fellow Abaconians, go talk to somebody. It's a lot of times it's best to go to talk and let out what is frustrating you most, so that it doesn't get to that point. But I feel for all the families involved, and I know that I'll be keeping a close eye on it, particularly because they were all located on one particular island, and I would like to have some further clarification on that.
And a prominent church leader is calling for churches to take a more hands-on approach as suicide rates climb, sparking national concern. The numbers reveal a troubling trend as suicides and attempted suicides are on the rise, affecting both young and elderly Bahamians. Bishop Simeon Hall of the New Covenant Baptist Church says it's time for churches to step beyond the pulpit and into action.
We have 4,000 churches in the Bahamas. If each one were to try to reach everybody within a quarter mile of where this church is, then we minister. We need to do more ministry, personal ministry, where people could come without asking for an offering from you, but they can shelter you, they can feed you. Every Thursday we feed people here at this church. At First Baptist, you go there on Wednesday, hundreds of people are there. Brother Walter, hundreds of people are at his place. The average church is doing a lot socially, but we need to do more.
Bishop Hall also highlighted a troubling trend as most of the reported cases involved men. He says he believes societal pressures and even some church teachings have played a role in the struggles many men face today.
I hope much in our society has emasculated men. Some wives make the women, some wives make the men feel like less than a man. And then our society has a way. A lot of our churches emasculate the men. I'm saying let's make them feel like male men that God has made them to be.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, a local church celebrates a quarter century of impact, touching lives in more ways than one. Details of the joyful Silver Jubilee celebration coming up, but first,
we have the latest hoop updates and we take you over to the Diamond next on Our Sports Weekend.
Diet-friendly special.
Good evening, welcome to Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. The NBA season is winding down and college only has a few games left. Here's what went down on the hardwood last night. Buddy Hield and the Warriors broke their two-game slide, beating the New Orleans Pelicans 111-95. He had 11 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists in 23 minutes off the bench. Steph Curry led the team with 23. The Warriors sit in 7th place. They need to win out for a chance to stay out of the dreaded play-in tournament. Over in the NCAA, Creighton big man Frederick King announced that he is entering the transfer portal and leaving the program. The Andros-born big man saw a little action in his 3 years with the program, averaging 2.9 points in 7 minutes of action per game. He did show promise when he got the chance to play, including a 14.5 rebound game against Notre Dame this season. But he was stuck behind all-conference center Ryan Kalkbrenner during his entire time at Creighton. And now he'll try to land on a team where he can get a bigger chance to play and more meaningful minutes. Now we head to the Diamond, where a Bahamian coach and his team got their first win. Mets first base coach Anton Richardson and his team got their first win of the season yesterday, taking down the Houston Astros 3-1. Their big offseason acquisition, Juan Soto, smacked a solo home run in the 3rd inning to put the Mets over the top. They were the surprise story of last season, making an improbable run to the NLCS before falling to eventual World Series champs, the LA Dodgers. Now they're going to try and deliver a championship to Queens with all eyes on them. And before we go, Jazz and the Yankees played game number 2 of 162 earlier today. We'll get those highlights to you tomorrow. That's a wrap for sports this evening. For Our Sports Weekend, I'm Tej Adderley.
Thanks, Tej. When we come back from the break, a local church has 25 years under its belt, and the senior pastor is reflecting on the journey. Plus, a check on temperatures with meteorologist Ian McKinsey. That's all coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
Diet-friendly special.
Welcome back to Our News Weekend. Cloudy skies outside the Our News studios this evening. Meteorologist Ian McKinsey joins us now with your weekend forecast. Ian.
Thanks, Berthany, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Saturday evening forecast. We're currently outside our studios under mostly clear skies with a temperature of 78. Feels like it's 74. Our winds are from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Temperatures across the country at this time in our nation's second city, Freeport, we have 75 as well as in Allenstown, Bimini. A trio of 78s across Nicholstown, the capital, and in Governor's Harbor, Eleuthera. 76 in Great Harbor Key, 74 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco. Central Bahamas, we have 78s continuing in Kemps Bay as well as in Georgetown, Exuma. 79 in Deadman's Key, Long Island. 77 in Arthurstown under some rain-cool temperatures. And Coburntown, San Salvador coming in at 76. In the southeast Bahamas, we have 79s in Duncantown, Delectable Bay, and in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos, as well as Colonel Hill, Crooked Island. 76 in Abraham's Bay, and 80, the hot spot, as usual, Matthew Town in Nagua. Satellite and radar imagery at this time. We have a frontal system pushing through the Gulf states. High pressure across our area, dominant weather feature. This will push some clouds across the area. There is a chance of 1 or 2 spotty showers tonight through tomorrow. We have a stall-out frontal boundary. We normally call it like a shear line across the southeast Bahamas. This should enhance some moisture with the streaming winds across our area tonight through tomorrow. Boating forecast for all areas, slight improvement, but we're still asking you boaters to exercise extreme caution along the Atlantic coastlines, remain on shore. Winds will be easterly 15 to 25, north seas 5 to 8 feet, but up to 11 feet along those eastern or Atlantic exposures and those northeast to easterly swells. High tide at 8:47 p.m. tonight, low tide at 3:09 a.m. tomorrow morning. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In your extended forecast, a few streaky showers across the area tomorrow, courtesy of that strong wind. We expect that front to push through the area Monday, Tuesday, with some showers associated with it. Breezy conditions again across the area. That doesn't spell well for you boaters out there trying to get your Easter fish on. Mid temperatures hanging around the mid 80s for your highs, your low temperatures only in the low 70s as we fully spring into April. That's a wrap on the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. Well, United Faith Ministries International is marking a significant milestone this weekend, 25 years of serving the community. Located on Faith Avenue, the church has been a cornerstone of the neighborhood, addressing not only spiritual needs, but also social needs for a quarter century. Senior Pastor Apostle Falman Ferguson says, while the celebrations have been ongoing throughout the week, everyone is still welcome to join Sunday's service, promising both a blessing and a good time.
At 9 a.m. right here, where we will host a number of business people, 13 of them to be exact, in which we will honor them during this event. Also, during that time, our choir, our praise team, our dance team will all be featured as we celebrate what the Lord has done with us over the past 25 years. And we're excited to invite the general public to be with us.
The church is also treating attendees to a scrumptious meal this weekend. Feeding the hungry has long been a priority for the church, which has been dedicated to meeting the needs of the community. Apostle Ferguson says this mission remains at the heart of the church's work.
Well, over the past 25 years, the church has had great impact in reaching our communities. In particular, we've been to various parks over the years with our services outdoor. And of course, I think everybody in the city knows of our feeding program, especially on Thanksgiving Day. For the past 5 years, we have managed to feed 5,000 persons on Thanksgiving Day. And of course, in Grand Bahama for the past 3 years, we were able to host Operation Christmas, in which another feeding initiative that fed 3,200 plus persons.
Thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Berthany McDermott. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Make it a great weekend, everyone.
Joshua Williams here. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button
And for more content like this, click over here. Also, push that notification button to get more great content from the team you already trust.